What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in with me on the topics once again. Today, guys, it is horror. Today, we're going to be talking about the 2008, very scary, very serious, and very true, The Strangers. Now, guys, The Strangers 2008 stars Scott Speedman as the boyfriend, wannabe husband in the film, and Liv Taylor stars Scott Speedman's soon-to-be, hopefully, wife. That doesn't seem to go so well. So, those are the two main characters we start off with, guys. We get Liv Taylor, Scott Speedman. And other than that, guys, this is pretty much a small cast. And the simplistic nature of this movie really makes it what it is. Now, guys, this is a movie about Scott Speedman, Liv Taylor. They're, at a wedding together, and it shows that things are going well. And then Scott Speedman eventually takes her outside and then proposes the question to her. Now, unfortunately, guys, we don't get to hear her answer, but we get the body language and the energy and the vibe after that she said no. And then, again, guys, the movie starts off with them at a wedding, them talking, them laughing. It seems that Scott Speedman has that question on his mind, so he takes her out there, hits her with the question, has the ring ready, and unfortunately, Liv Taylor seems to be not interested in what marriage is like these days. Some women are like that. Scott Speedman is hurt. Scott Speedman was committed to it. He had everything set up. They go back home. It's a little awkward, because they have roses. They have roses in the bathtub, roses in the bathroom, flowers everywhere, ice cream set up and stuff like that. So, guys, it was really insinuating that Scott Speedman loves Liv Taylor, wanting to marry her, and unfortunately, Liv Taylor just wants to be living on her own. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, guys, pretty simplistic nature of it. And also, in the very beginning of this movie, guys, so that right there is at least 5 minutes into the movie once we get to know the characters and things of that nature. But in the very beginning of this movie, guys, the first minute, we get an introduction that it shows that this movie is based off of true events. Now, guys, this could have been a situation that, happened to, somebody in particular. Some of these movies, they say based on true events, and sometimes they sugarcoat what's going on. Guys, Strangers does not do that at all. Not only did this really happen, but it can really happen. This is such a simplistic nature of just these crazy psychopaths, these strangers that are wanting to murder. And we had stuff similar like that with the 70s cult of Charles Manson. Now, guys, this movie really brings back that 70s cult-like vibe, you know what I mean? We didn't really get a film about the Charles Manson cult-like per se, particularly on that case. But this one right here, guys, I was reading that the director really got inspired by cult-like people like that. These people, these group of friends from this era, the 70s, especially the hippie, kind of like acid-taking crazy people and stuff like that. Not to say if you take acid, you're crazy. But in the 70s, it was really Woodstock, hippie-ish, and things like that. And who knows, maybe it was just too much, and it was just too new, and things of that nature, guys. It was 55 years ago, so a lot could have went on. And, with that being said, guys, yeah, we get the 70s vibe, 70s nature. And not only that, guys, they live in the middle of nowhere. We get this cool introduction where it shows these cars driving by house by house by house by house, slowly but surely. Some are dark, some are, have their porch lights on. Some during the day, some at night. I love that part because they're just driving by and it's showing houses. And it just seems that it's insinuating that contemplating which house. This one looks good. Either maybe the houses they've done before and committed crimes at. Honestly, guys, it's such an eerie vibe that, it could mean and interpret so many ways. And, really, with them showing the houses, I thought that was pretty suspenseful because it's like, wow, this is how these people work. They maneuver around town trying to find people to fuck with. And funny enough, well, not funny at all, but they choose Scott Speedman, Liv Taylor on their most already worst night. Scott Speedman can't marry the girl he's very in love with. And Liv Tyler. Obviously, Tyler, one of those guys. You know the difference. But Liv Taylor wants to be living on her own. So, what a night for the strangers to go and pick them. Things aren't already going well. So, with that being said, guys, we get a knock at the door. They're at home and stuff like that. And the couple is at home, and we get a knock at the door, guys. We get a knock at the door asking the couple about, like, hey, is Tamara home? That seems to be the question in this movie, guys, where they say that, hey, is Tamara home? And then they come to the door. And what I read, guys, from the true story of this, what they would do was the people would really come knock on doors. And those who didn't answer, they would break in the house. And those that did answer, they wouldn't break in. And sometimes, from my knowledge, they still would break in, knowing the fact that somebody was home. So with that being said, guys, yeah, we get the introduction to one of the strangers. She comes to the door. It is a female. She comes to the door and introduces herself. She's just standing there. She doesn't say her name, but we get the introduction to her. And she's throwing the phony question, is Tamara home? To, pretty much see if anybody was home to begin with. It's kind of one of those things where, okay, you're home. Let me play it off. See you later. And she even mentions in that. So, guys, the one that goes into the door and asks this question is not the one. There's 3 people, 2 girls and 1 guy. And this isn't the one wearing the Chinese mask. That is more of a brunette girl. This girl is more on the blonder side. And, yeah, she's, and we get to see her with a quick little, not flash, but a little bit of highlight of her face. Because she comes to the door and we see a little bit of light from the house reflect on her face. So we don't get an overall look at her face, but enough to go ahead and get an idea that these are young kids, young people that are probably in a cult, either being controlled, either being manipulated, or either convinced that they want to kill these people. So next up, guys, like I said, it's already a struggling couple having to team up against the strangers. Now, guys, what I like about ones like this, guys, in movies and characters like this, is that whenever there's a battle between characters where the characters aren't getting along, they're arguing and things of that nature, they eventually team up in the movie and go against the bad guys. I like stuff like that. I like how Scott Speedman was being really distant with this girl about, like, hey, like, you don't want to marry me, okay, I'm not obviously too serious in your life, so I'll back up a bit. And throughout the movie, guys, they really have to team up, understand things. It's funny because she tells him, she's like, hey, like, don't you have a gun? Don't you know how to work a gun? And he was like, nah, it's just something I said, I was just trying to impress you. And it's shit like that where it's like she tells him, like, hey, man, you told me this stuff, like, can't you do it? And he's like, well, I was just lying and stuff like that, But I thought writing like that was pretty clever where it's like literally, even in a situation like this, she's like, hey, remember you told me about that one time you know how to work a shotgun? I need you to right now. And he's like, yeah, I was just kidding about that. So I thought that was interesting, guys. And we get the most suspenseful part in the movie, in my opinion, when the boyfriend leaves and stuff like that, guys. And then, she's stuck at home by herself. Okay, Liv Taylor is stuck at home by herself. And when she's there by herself, I'm telling you, we get the introduction to the stranger. This guy, he has a hard time breathing through his mask. He has a cool suit where it's like brown that matches like the wood of the door and that 70s look and stuff like that. So that was cool. And guys, the villain of this movie, the Scarecrow guy wearing the mask, very similar to Batman Begins. I'm really on the edge of that actor's name. The one that was in Red Eye and is in Peaky Blinders. Something Civil or something. I don't know, something like that, guys. I'm really, tongue twister and stuff like that. Gotta have my coffee first thing in the morning, getting these reviews out. Main focus is strangers. But other than that, guys, it really has a Batman Begins look from the villain. I'm sure you guys will let me know. Let me know that Cillian Murphy. There we go. And so we get that. We get Batman Begins. We kind of get that Scarecrow look that, he really has similar in that movie. And that's why, guys, I think it really struck a nerve with me, because in that movie, that was my favorite part in Batman Begins, is that Scarecrow villain. Now, I know he's probably not the most dangerous and versatile and unique, but guys, you know what I mean? I love that horror look to him, because a lot of the villains don't really look scary. They just have their powers, and him being a Scarecrow and having those crazy powers where he's kind of like crowing people, messing with their traumas to, have the Scarecrow get their way. So, Yeah, guys, I thought that was pretty interesting. And next up, guys, I mean, the movie, just genuinely scary. Just genuinely scary, guys. We get genuine scares throughout the movie. I mean, the movie literally, like I said, based off true events. And not only that, guys, skipping that beginning part, if you were just watch this movie not knowing it was true and, enjoying the nature for what it is, the movie is terrorizing. I mean, really, if you watch this at night, guys, by yourself, and if you are in the middle of nowhere, and if you do understand the premise of this, where, let's say if it's just you and your girlfriend, she ain't even loving you, she's treating you like shit, you're in the middle of nowhere, and people want to come kill you. And you just accidentally killed your friend midway in the movie. We'll get to that. But guys, I'm telling you, really, the pace of this movie, the scares of this movie is really solid. I don't understand the hate for this movie. I understand the pacing maybe isn't for everybody because it's not necessarily a killing horror movie where there's a lot of killings going on. And it's really an eerie, disturbing film that really just relies on suspense and eeriness, I mean, the whole movie has to do with the paranoia of being alone, people outside, and that nature where it's like just you and whatever's outside. I mean, you don't know how many, you don't know what's out there. So it's crazy, guys. I mean, really, the nature of that is honestly crazy because some of these people, they know their opponents, they know what they're up against, the capabilities. Imagine being at home and you have a handful of people messing with you, and for all you know, it could be 3, 5, 10. They could have shotguns, arrows, knives, and they could be in the house on the roof. Whatever it is, I don't know. But that's the brutality of the strangers is because they mess with this family. They mess with this couple and for no reason. And we'll get to in the end, guys, and why they chose this. But I'm telling you, strangers, there's really people like this, and it's menacing. And yeah, guys, like I said, great terror throughout, keeping you just literally just intrigued. And doesn't rely on gore. Doesn't rely on gore and things of that nature, guys. There's not really much killings going on. The most crazy kill we get in this movie is the shotgun at the face of Scott Speedman's friend, who comes over at the house and least expecting there to be a stranger in the house with a axe behind him, literally about to cut off his head. But if he didn't get his head cut off, he got his face blown off by Scott Speedman, one of his best buddies. Now, guys, like I said, it doesn't rely on gore, but this movie really relies on suspense. When we get things like that popping in from time to time in the movie, guys, it pops up at good timing, you know what I mean? When maybe something violent doesn't happen for 20 minutes or whatever it is, something cool will happen, keeping you intrigued. And it doesn't always need to be like that, guys. I'm a big horror fan, love the gore galore. But some horror movies, as long as they're done right and you're keeping that suspense and scares, doesn't need blood, in my opinion. When a Stranger Calls, Insidious, Strangers. These movies right here are really just show off the capabilities and the complexness that horror can be without giving you the blood and guts and gore. Now, like I said, guys, don't get me wrong. I love that stuff. Wearing my Terrifier shirt. So obviously I love it, but you can never go wrong with those nice suspenseful, you know what I mean? Just those films, those eeriness vibes that, maybe won't hit you with the gore, but will get you thinking. Now, next up, guys, like I said, could really happen to you. The nature of this film of just being alone in your house, and especially for the people that live in the middle of nowhere, those cabins, ain't nothing worse than wanting to get a getaway, and then there's no way you can get away. Woo, that was pretty cool. That was pretty good. Going on a getaway, but there's no getaway, and you can't get away. Like Lenny Kravitz, I want to get away. I need to get away. Now, guys, I thought that was pretty dope. Things of that could really happen. And, the unsafe nature of just not being in the suburbs, but being in the middle of nowhere, where Scott Speedman even mentions, he's like, everything that's been going on, and I haven't heard a car pass, a dog bark, just nothing, a siren, just nobody. And when it's like that, guys, it really feels more intense because, you just feel like there's no witnesses. There's no one to go to. There's no one that can step in. If I'm at my worst, or if I'm cornered, or if it's just me, like, it's bad. And help probably won't get here by the time, things get crazy. So that's really something to take in consideration, guys. I know with Terrifier, where you got people like this are coming after you that probably ripped out your friend's guts, and you're scared shitless you're gonna be next. But guys, imagine being at home by yourself in the middle of nowhere, and you got how many strangers coming after you for no reason. They could have whatever weapons, and who knows if they're even gonna stop. And the fact that nobody else is out there but those strangers and me in this territory, that's menacing. That is menacing right there, guys. That is horrific stuff right there. Talk about getting jumped, but then no witnesses, no help, and they're here to kill you. Crazy stuff, and in your own home. So that is crazy stuff right there, guys. Strangers. I think when people think about that, watch the movie, understand that. Not to say I've had experiences where being in the middle of nowhere, where things like that. I've had my own experiences with strangers. But you know what, guys? If people were to really be in this situation and understand these things, and if people were to have episodes like Scott Speedman and Liv Taylor were having in this movie, they would be traumatized. They would never forget that. It would be horrible. Now, guys, like I said, stuff like this can really happen, but, I mean, let's just hope that things like this don't happen to us good folks. Now, guys, like I said, nothing too crazy on the gore. We do get that part where Scott Speedman accidentally blows off his friend's face. His friend was wondering why you're not answering your calls. I'm here to pick you up and things like that. I think he was there to pick him up because Scott Speedman, again, it wasn't going really well. It was kind of awkward at home. Probably wanted to, end up probably to go drink some beers with the homie. Maybe just go pull some other broads or something like that. Hey, it's not working out with her. Let's go to the strip club. Or something like that. Who knows? But either way, guys, his friend was trying to be a good friend. Scott Speedman didn't know. His life's in danger. I mean, anyone in the house at this point is getting just blown off. So, I mean, hey, unfortunately, it was his friend. Half his face is off. And now, Scott Speedman and Liv Taylor are pissed. Especially Scott, because that was his only getaway. That was his only help. And his only friend who gave a shit. Now, he is pissed. He is punching the door. He gets a little bit, in Liv Taylor's face where he's like, son of a bitch. Only if he married me, we probably wouldn't be here right now. We'd probably be boning. But, yeah, guys, I thought that was pretty crazy right there. And, yeah, Scott Speedman gets pissed. He goes outside. He opens a screen door. He tries to go out there in the window. The killers are teasing him because they're writing killer, on the, backyard patio door and stuff like that on the glass. So, he's pissed. He still goes out there. And he's just about to shoot one of the girls. Not the Tamara girl that knocked on the door or the scarecrow. But the other girl, guys, the Chinese girl, the brunette girl. This is pretty much where we get, not the first introduction to her. There's a part where she crashes into Scott Speedman's truck when he's trying to make an escape. So we get a nice introduction to her there. I like the way she kind of pokes out her mask into the light and camera to, show off those visuals and stuff, what she's working with. And, yeah, guys, eventually Scott Speedman gets kicked in the face in the woods for being out there trying to be, sneaky and stuff. But unfortunately, the strangers are very smart and sneaky themselves. And it seems that, they play this game and play it very well, So with that being said, guys, we also get Liv Taylor wanting to make an escape out there eventually. She's feeling fearful on where, Scott is out there and stuff like that. And she's at home by herself. Eventually, she tries to make a run for it, guys, goes outside. And we get the Chinese girl, the Chinese mask, per se. I would say, guys, it's 100% Chinese. It just looks like it's on the Chinese side. So if I'm off, I'm sorry. But if I'm right, I told you so. Now, guys, so yeah, like I said, we get her running out. And then the Chinese girl's holding a knife. Now, it looks like she's implying she's going to come up to Liv Taylor and stab her, things of that nature. Liv Taylor's been fighting for her life. I mean, really, Scott Speedman is one of those dismissive dudes. He's giving her a hard time because I feel like they're not married, which is understandable. But when she's pleading with you that things, are going this way, there's somebody out there, there's somebody in the house, she's literally devastated, she's hurt. You live in the middle of nowhere. And to be honest, the settings of that house and that situation honestly wouldn't surprise me. If people chose to terrorize a house in the middle of nowhere like that, makes sense. Really. So, gotta take a girl's word for things. And, to be honest, it kind of backfired on him a little bit because by him being so in denial, it really, got him a foot up the ass too. So, that being said, guys, we're at the point in the movie where it's like a lot of back and forth, and at this point, the strangers are winning. You know, they are, Liv Taylor, Scott Speedman are fighting for their lives, going outside, trying to make escapes, trying to go into the barn, call for help, get weapons, whatever it is. The strangers are ruining that. The couple is left with not knowing what to do. Eventually, guys, we're taken back into the house. We're taken back into the house where Liv Taylor and Scott Speedman, they are tied up in a chair. Things aren't looking so good. The strangers have had their way with them. The strangers have got them, tied them up. Now, I know that sounded a little weird when I said have their way. I didn't mean like that. I just mean that the strangers have won. They have tied them up. They have got them stuck to a chair, and the strangers are now in control. That is my way, guys. Not in the other matter, just in the way of just about how the strangers are now in control and taking over the house. Now, guys, at this point, the sun is rising. The sun is up. We get a different scene where one of the strangers opens the blinds. The sun is out, exposing the sun and UV onto the couple, which is covered in blood. They look all beat up. They look all cut up. Things aren't looking so good for them. And things are getting worse and scary for them, guys, because when they are there, the strangers are taking off their masks. And when they're taking off their masks, they're getting terrorized because they're like, fuck, like, I know they're probably going to kill me. You know what I mean? I see their face now. I'm tied up. I mean, they're holding knives. I mean, they look menacing. It's crazy. And when Liv Taylor asked him, like, why are you doing this? One of the girls answers, and it looks like the other strangers did not like that. You know, the blonde girl, not the Chinese mask and not the scarecrow, but the blonde girl says, because you were home. Why are you doing this? Because you were home. And the stranger and the Chinese girl both, like, you know, look at her. They don't say anything, but they both, like, kind of give, you know, her a look. Throughout this whole movie, guys, it seems that the only person that was talking and being vocal was the blonde girl with the mask, the Tamara home, and because you were home. So, I thought that was really cool, guys, based again on that topic of Tamara home and why are you doing this? Because you were home. So, you know, these people right here, guys, are just home invaders, but worse than that. These people right here are home invasion, murderer, psychopaths, cult-like Manson strangers. Now, guys, you know what I mean? These people right here, guys, to end it off the film, they take off their masks. We get the girl that elaborates on because you were home, and things do not get any better there, guys. Things do not get any better. This movie does not end in hope. And to be honest, that's another reason why I really was wanting to give this movie credit. Sorry about that, guys. Nose itches. Really wanted to give this movie credit on how it has balls. And we have this terrorizing stuff all throughout the movie. And unfortunately, guys, the couple does not win in the end. These strangers come. They terrorize the house. And unfortunately, they stab them both in the end pretty good multiple times. Now, guys, from my knowledge on the unrated version, we do get a part where we see Liv Taylor is alive in the end of the movie. And she is woken up by one of these Jehovah Witnesses people. One of the kids is coming. Excuse me 1 second, guys. My nose itches. Sorry about that. Nose is a little itchy. Don't want to go ahead and do that all on camera. All right. So, guys, like I said, you know, we get a Jehovah Witness kid come over to the house. In the beginning of the movie, guys, it seems that this is what was going on in the beginning also, where it looked like a Jehovah Witness was coming to the house and, you know, overlooked the crime scenes and things that were going on before. I believe that crime scene was the crime scene that eventually happened in the end of the movie. It wasn't another crime scene. So in this movie, guys, we kind of get a hint of the end in the beginning, along with the shotgun, the blood on the wall, the knife and stuff like that, roses, the ring. And that is how the movie ends, guys. Unfortunately, like that taste right there does show full forward in the end of the movie on what these strangers did and why we saw that in the beginning and why that phone call in the beginning was a cry for help. Now, guys, there was a part in the beginning of the movie where there's a girl, her name was Jordan, where she was crying and calling for help because of the crime scene she came across. You know, she saw what the strangers did, you know, to the couple, you know, to Liv Taylor and Scott Speedman. They're dead. They're in the house. There's blood everywhere and stuff. And the strangers have got away. Now, that is the evidence that Jordan was left to see. She called the cops and stuff. And then, you know, the cops are just asking them questions about like, hey, what happened? What do you see? All this stuff. And then all Jordan is saying is that there's blood everywhere. Now, guys, And at the end of the movie, they are tied up. Things are not going good. And what I thought was really romantic and beautiful was it seems like that's when they really loved each other genuinely, was the minute before they died. They were sitting there and holding their hands, looking in each other's eyes, and just wishing things would have worked out. And unfortunately, the Scarecrow, the dude just punctures his knife in Scott Speedman's gut just multiple times and does the same to Liv Taylor, which eventually leaves them both dead, and the strangers heading out to do another just shenanigan, what they do best. Now, guys, when they're leaving, they bump into the Jehovah Witness children. We get an eeriness vibe from them. These people do not seem hopeful, spiritual, just no way whatsoever remorseful. And minutes later, guys, those same kids that bump into the strangers eventually go into the house where the strangers had killed the family. Not the family, but the couple. And yeah, guys. And then on the unrated version, we kind of get a hint that Liv Taylor was still alive. She goes for a phone. She's going for a phone, and one of the strangers comes back and takes the phone. He takes the phone, but then he leaves her there. He leaves her there, so that could either be, you know what I mean? Like, you figure it out. I mean, obviously, like, hey, if you want to fight for your life, then go for it. Or it could just mean, like, hey, you're not going anywhere. You're going to die, and there's no one that's going to help you. By the time you get help, you're done. So that's how the movie ends off, guys. I mean, really, guys, when this movie came out, I was such a fan of this movie. I saw this movie like 3 times in theaters when it came out, really. I mean, in 2008 and stuff like that, when this movie was just banging, just literally just putting me in that horror vibe and that horror state that I love till this day. Now, guys, if you haven't already, please check out The Strangers. I know I gave some spoilers and all that stuff on what had happened, but you know what, guys? If you're watching the review, I'm sure you already know what's going on with the movie. I'm sure you already know what's up with The Strangers. But other than that, guys, thank you for sticking with me on The Strangers. If you haven't already, please check out The Strangers. Please understand it's a true story, and please understand that the pace of this movie, guys, is not going to be like Evil Dead, like Terrifier, like, Jason Voorhees, Friday the 13th. This is a movie, guys, where it doesn't really depend on kills, really depends on terror. Now, guys, if this is a movie where I would say, let's say if you go to a cabin and you hang out and you are in the middle of nowhere, and there could be strangers, and these noises are getting to you, I'd throw on The Strangers, guys. There's certain movies you throw on for certain things. Like, let's say if you're going to a hotel, stuff like that, and you want to watch a scary movie, watch 1408, watch The Shining. You're going to the woods by yourself with your loved one, or even by yourself with some friends, whatever it is, you guys want to get spooky and scared and go and, set the vibe right, throw on The Strangers, guys. Perfect eeriness, perfect vibe, and also that, guys, perfect execution from the cast, the villains, and the director overall, guys. Well, that does it, guys, for my episode of this one for the topics, The Strangers. Guys, let me know what else you want me to discuss on the topics. Any good movies, any good music albums, and even songs at this point, guys. You know what I mean? Recently, Sleep Token has come out with Even Arcadia. Been doing reviews on that. All their catalog. Please check that one out. And guys, just keeping the consistency going of the horror genre, because on this channel, guys, the topics, every day is Halloween. Thank you guys for sticking with me on the topics. And let me know what else to discuss for next time's episode. Until then, guys, deuces!